you all. Sit down. Thank you. Thank you all. Now, if I had a plate of food in front of me, I wouldn't be standing up, y'all. So, and in fact, oftentimes when we're at events like this, at a luncheon event and a working luncheon event, and they put a plate of food in you, should I listen or should I eat? And let me just tell you, if you're in this business, if you can't eat and listen at the same time, you're in the wrong business. So please go ahead and enjoy your meal. And I want to share some thoughts with you. As Ken indicated, this is a very important, in fact, we call it a strategic industry for Georgia, because part of what building a company or building a state and growing it really has to do with taking the things that God has given you and building on those strengths. And God has given us, as I'll talk about later on, a wonderful geospatial position on this globe, and we're building on those strengths. And frankly, it includes all that you do in so many ways, and that's why the connectivity is so important. So we're glad you're here. In fact, if you were here last year, you may have wondered if you were at the right place this year. Paige, you've done a great job in really promoting this, and I think the energy, not just the attendance, but the energy, excitement, the interaction is indicative that this is a needed thing here in our state as we get together, because really logistics is really all about connectivity and interconnectivity, and that's what is this summit is about, is the facilitation of that. So you all have grown, over 800 registered participants here today, and that's roughly double what was had last year. My prediction, Paige, if you get a place big enough, you'll double again next year. I've told you this is strategic in its timing. As the economy begins to grow again, people already, you all are leading indicators, and I'm glad to see that people in the moving stuff business are looking optimistically about the future, because we think it's ready to pop again. And I know that we'll need even more information, more connectivity next year. The good thing about it is we have people here from all over the state, and frankly, for the first time, we've got good representation from all over the Southeast. I've told Paige, next year you're going to see representation from all over the nation and internationally as the reputation of this event grows and grows. But your presence at this event, I think, is a testimony to Georgia's history. And if you think about that, our state's economy was founded on its geospatial position on the planet, its transportation infrastructure, with communities springing up around railroads that connected major trading points along the East Coast and from the Atlantic to the West. That's what has grown this state forever and continues to. Transportation has always been and will continue to be the real catalyst for Georgia's economic growth in the future. So to some extent, that's true everywhere. I understand that. But over the last 30 years, our focused investment in understanding the value of investing in our strengths to make us even better in transportation infrastructure has transformed Georgia into a hub for moving goods, not only throughout the U.S., but all over the world. And that's a huge change in that period of time. Today, we have a vibrant freight and logistics industry supporting thousands of jobs, not just domestically movement, but international east-west logistics across our globe. So, as I've indicated, you can guess that I believe Georgia's logistics and transportation network is one of our strongest competitive assets. And as Ken said, that's literally, when I go around the world selling Georgia as a location, that's what I sell. Companies doing business in Georgia can reach 80% of the U.S. market within a 2-day truck haul or a 2-hour flight. We've got the most extensive rail, Class A rail network in the Southeast, and we all know that the Port of Savannah is the fastest growing container port in the United States of America. And once again, Georgia's geographical position makes our state the premier East Coast gateway to the United States. When I go talk to people, I try to put it down. Many of you are in the in the location business, in the real estate business, and you understand what it means when you talk about location, location, location. Georgia has the corner store location in this nation there, and that's why I think we've got more than this is a phenomenal number, 11,000 logistics service providers calling Georgia home. And Paige, we got a big market share to go. We only got 800 of them here, so we got a bunch more to go. That's why I think I'm safe with my prediction. You know, we've had success, but frankly, in this area, but we're not happy. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. It's hard just to stay status quo. As a matter of fact, if you stand still in this business, you're going to get run over. No, you'll drop hard and fast, and that's why I want to enlist all of you together who are ready and willing to help us maintain that competitive edge. And we want to grow the pie, but we also plan on continuing to win market share. And we travel internationally over east-west travel, north-south travel. That's what we're talking about. If it comes through Georgia, jobs are going to grow from that. If those goods come through our port or go out through our port, we're going to grow jobs in Georgia, and we're going to grow the economy in Georgia. It's that simple. Frankly, this will require vision and strategic investment from all of us. Improving logistics requires drilling down to cure those bottlenecks, one bottleneck at a time, whether it may be a particular rail crossing, a harbor log jam, or an expressway that's about 2 lanes short for realistic volumes. Most logistics work, as you all know, isn't very flashy, or in the political world, very sexy, and it really doesn't generate big headlines most of the time. But you would be hard-pressed to find another strategy that delivers comparable long-term benefits and the value that your customers seek. Fundamental, that's what it is. Fundamental connectivity and customer producer to market is what really counts. Our aim in Georgia, and why we have this, is to let your voice drive a business case for future investment. We've already heard from some of you in a preliminary survey, and this summit is part of an ongoing effort to enlist you and to solicit your input and your voice in the solutions that need to take place in Georgia. It's pretty simple. Winning logistics support the interest of businesses that you represent, and that's our interest. This last year, we launched a concerted effort to receive private sector input with the Commission for a New Georgia Freight and Logistics Task Force. We listened, and it resulted in a recommendation and a strategy and the tactics to get where we need to go, where you told us we need to go. The task force identified a series of industry-driven recommendations, including the development of a 40-year freight and logistics plan. The planning cycle is that long. You need to know where you're going to go, how you're going to get there. Businesses need to know where they should locate. That's part of the consistency and the reliability of a good, solid plan. This comprehensive statewide action plan, literally a blueprint. If you're going to build a building, you're going to have plans to get there. You're going to know where to put the steel and where to put the support structures. And that's the way it is in building a logistics infrastructure in Georgia. This plan is going to guide the strategic execution of logistics activities, operational efficiencies, and infrastructure projects through 2050. Now, it'll identify specific projects and funding options to improve the flow of goods into, within, and outside of our state borders. That's all important. Industry participation will be absolutely vital to the success of this freight and logistics plan. Your guys are on the ground all the time. You know the flow. You know where people are. You know where they want to go. That's your business. And we need to have your input about how to fine-tune. This is a living, breathing document that will need to be fine-tuned as we go along in order to make sure that we hit the mid-course. Let me be clear. We are not interested in developing a plan to publish and a plan just good on paper alone. We're not aiming to get published in some sort of magazine or academic journal. We need to hear your voice to ensure that the project develops accurate findings and actionable recommendations. I'm not much for one just to report to sit on a shelf and say we studied that. I like to study. I consider myself a facts-based decision maker. But if a study doesn't lead to action, it's worthless as far as I'm concerned. You hear that, don't you, Todd? And that's what we're talking about. And that's the guy that's going to get it done. But I'm calling on you to help him and to help our DOT and help our state, everyone at this summit, to provide input into the process and to continue to follow our progress all the way to execution and implementation. You know, I'm talking like I'll be here for those 50 years, but I won't. In fact, I'm going to be here for just 257 more days, if anybody's counting. And I'm going to need your help, though, and you can do it, to ensure our future elected leaders and officials and transportation officials understand the criticality of your sector and your business, and to keep Georgia moving forward in freight and logistics. Industry leadership and active involvement is the only way that this plan will be a true success for your businesses and for Georgia's economy. You have more market power than many of you may realize at this point in time. And I would suggest that you all integrate that thinking and probably consummate some influence in this area in speaking with a single voice about what's needed in Georgia transportation. My office, in conjunction with the Department of Transportation and the Department of Economic Development Center of Innovation for Logistics, is working with transportation infrastructure experts to develop that plan, a living, breathing, actionable, doable plan that will get results. This work was closely correlated with the funding strategies compiled through the IT3, the Investing for Tomorrow's Transportation Today initiative. And to help companies reach innovative logistics solutions, the Georgia Center of Innovation recognizes 3 competitive drivers that are vital to your company's success and your customers' success, frankly. That's volume, velocity, and visibility. And all of those are important. We're keying on volume to maximize the throughput in and through existing facilities. We know that's important. That's efficiency. Managing volume is about building the most effective and efficient infrastructure to handle the growth. It requires the implementation of best operational practices throughout your operations, warehouse management, software, technology, material handling equipment, OCR recognition, smart warehouse, access controls, all those things to make sure those goods get there in the best way. We're drilling down to increase the velocity, and that's important. It's important to compress that shipping and delivery cycle. We can win the logistics competition if we do that. If we don't, another of these important geospatial geography somewhere in the rest of the world will be the winner. We're working hard on information sharing tools, enterprise software, next best move algorithms to make greater velocity a reality. You know that's what your customers want, and we know the customer's always right. So it's our responsibility to figure it out, and we want to be partners in that effort. The third tool that we can leverage to drive gains is enhanced visibility. And that's not marketing, the visibility of where these goods are. That starts with real-time information on the location and status of shipments and assets in the global supply chain. We're also working on the process visibility to identify and resolve systemic problems through auto ID, smart cameras, GIS information mapping, container security devices, RF devices. All these things that make it smarter and quicker to ship is what we're talking about. Getting logistics right for Georgia and for America is important. I think it's the best answer we have for our nation's import-export imbalance. And in Georgia, I'm proud to tell you that our ports now have a export balance there, and it's always been balanced. But we're exporting about 55% to the 45 import now. As the economy improves, that may come back and get in the middle. But that means that companies that make stuff in Georgia are sending it out. Companies who send things through Georgia are shipping it out. And we want Georgia to leverage that corner store location with a talented workforce that we have and the easy routes to market that can make us a powerful exporter. And I believe ultimately that is the answer to the prosperity, the future prosperity of the United States of America. Ken and his team at the Department of Economic Development have been very successful in the last couple of years of inshoring some things that had been offshore. That means from our automotive industry with Kia and others, making these kind of goods with American labor that can literally export these products that heretofore we've been importing. To get there, we're sharing a simple message. Georgia, I believe, can help your company get your product from point A to point B. But here's the thing. I think we can help you get it there quicker, safer, and cheaper. That's our winning solution, and I think it's working. With your willingness to help, I believe Georgia's name will be added to a very short list, joining the few global crossroads that serve as a true linchpin function in trade. You literally can count them on one hand. We're blessed with the natural location and the network assets to get that gateway resource on the eastern seaboard of the largest economy in the world. But we need your help. You're our customers. We need to hear your voice. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the good work you do in keeping Georgia strong in this sector, and we wish you well for the future. Thank you very much. Have a good meeting.